Dr. Leora Cherney, a professor of physical medicine and rehabilitation and communication sciences and disorders at Northwestern University, and also scientific chair of Think and Speak at the Shirley Ryan Ability Lab. I'm the principal investigator on a study funded by Northwestern University's Robert J. Havey, MD, Institute for Global Health Catalyzer Research Fund. The title of the study is A Cultural and Linguistic Adaptation of Script Training to Improve Communication for Stroke Survivors with Aphasia in Colombia. I am in Chicago, but I'd like to introduce my two colleagues who are working on the study in Colombia. Dr. Gina Kike is a speech and language pathologist. She got her PhD in communication sciences and disorders from the University of Pittsburgh, focusing in on aphasia rehabilitation. Dr. Oscar Aguila is an associate professor in the psychology department at Javeriana University in Bogota, Colombia.
Aphasia is a chronic debilitating communication disorder that results from damage to brain regions that support language. It commonly occurs after a stroke, affecting about 1/3 of stroke survivors. Aphasia affects verbal expression and comprehension, reading and writing abilities. Imagine wanting to say something and not being able to find the words. How would that affect your interactions with your families and friends? Due to their communication impairments, people with aphasia report social isolation, loss of autonomy, and a significant decrease in quality of life.
Despite the devastating consequences of aphasia, public awareness of this language disorder is very low. In fact, it is low worldwide. This includes the general public and health professionals. Moreover, the absence of awareness about aphasia leads to a lack of context-specific public policies, increased barriers to getting adequate health care services, and a lack of research on appropriate treatments for people with these communication difficulties.
Last year, Dr. Aguilar and I conducted a scoping review regarding the treatments that have been published for Spanish speakers with aphasia. We knew that about 85% of aphasia treatment research had focused on English speakers with aphasia. We found a total of 18 studies that reported treatments for Spanish speakers. In other words, in a span of 10 years, only 18 studies were published regarding aphasia treatments for this population. Of course, this is not enough for Spanish, one of the most spoken languages in the world. Moreover, some of these studies did not consider cultural factors which are common to the Spanish-speaking communities.
Fue un instante, cambió mi vida. Completamente. Hace 13 años tuve aneurisma en la cabeza. Estoy aceptando y estoy viviendo normalmente. Sí. Es una difícil situación porque no tenemos un centro, un apoyo en Colombia de ningún tipo, ¿sí? Hay centros especializados a rehabilitación, pero no hay un centro especializado de afasia.
We are beyond grateful to have received the Global Health Research Catalyzer funding.
Our project is needed because there is a lack of culturally sensitive and language-specific aphasia interventions for Spanish speakers with aphasia. Also, there are increased barriers to healthcare access in low and middle-income countries that extend from the initial onset to long-term chronic care.
The first aim of our project is to implement cultural and language-specific adaptations of script training treatment, which is an efficacious aphasia treatment that helps people with aphasia learn functional sentences to communicate in daily life situations. In this aim, we will create a stakeholder advisory board in Colombia, which will identify communication needs that can be satisfied using scripted sentences, like the sentences you would use going to a medical appointment. The sentences developed by the board will be freely available for the aphasia community at the end of the study.
Once the stakeholders develop the sentences, in the second aim of our study, we will work with 4 people with aphasia to help them learn the sentences using open source software on their phones or tablets. Participants will be assessed to calculate how many sentences they have learned over 6 weeks. We will also study if this software is useful, appropriate, and easy to use. We have a preliminary version of an adaptation for this software for aphasia treatment.
We're looking forward to report the results of our study, and we thank you for your support.